Welcome to Glazed Over, a podcast for contemporary ceramic studios. We're your host, Jessica Cowan.
And Amy Williams. You're invited to join us in creative conversation about life in the arts as entertainment space. Hey, Jess.
Hi, Amy.
How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing so good. It's post 4th of July weekend, so I'm not gonna lie, I'm recovering a little bit. What about you?
How are you? I spent the whole weekend recovering. I don't like to leave the house during 4th of July. It's my time to stay indoors in the air conditioning.
Yeah. I feel for that. I would say that I went to a cabin in the woods to go trail hiking, but also back to the air conditioning at the end of the day. So it is good to be away from people on 4th of July.
Agreed. And like exercising in my off time, you are different than me. So
listen, you got to drag me out there once a year. I make myself do it. So.
Well, I'm glad that you had a good time and I was at home. But, 4th of July, America's birthday, we are continuing the celebration today, talking to Kelly Browning of American Bisque, nay Midwest Ceramics. And it was so nice to get to know her a little bit more.
Yeah, it really was, because Kelly told us all about her journey from the beginning, which for me, I could talk all day about this, is generational. It started with her mom and helping her do ornaments and has grown over the years from her having her own studios to now being a supplier and to wanting to supply to us and help build that legacy and grow it forward. And, we hear that a lot. I mean, I hear it from my customers. I hear it from other studio owners. So it just goes to show how impactful we really are in people's lives on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. And I stay impressed with the suppliers that are also running a paint your own pottery at the same time.
Yes.
I don't know how they even possibly get any sleep at night. So Kelly is among one of those as well. And I just think that's really cool. But yeah, let's keep the party rolling and get into the episode. What do you say?
Yeah, I think that sounds good to me.
Amazing. You guys enjoy. Wait, before we get out of here, Kelly has examples of things. And also,
yeah, so you should watch.
I'm in the studio today. So if you want a sneak peek and you want some visuals, you can always watch the episodes on YouTube, as well as listening to them wherever you get your podcasts. So that is my plug for the YouTube channel. Make sure that you're liking and subscribing and commenting. I know that sounds like, why should I have to do that? We all know each other, but it really does help in the spread of this information. And we're always trying to get more good, amazing information out to our people. So make sure you're doing that.
Okay, y'all enjoy.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Hey everyone, Des Toll here from Bisque Imports. You know how much we love our customers, and supporting the CCSA podcast is just one more way we can show up for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. We're glad you're here.
Looking to sharpen your skills or learn new techniques to enhance your studio offerings? A CCSA membership has you covered. With exclusive access to educational webinars, training programs, and hands-on workshops, you'll stay ahead of industry trends and keep your creativity flowing. Whether it's improving your business operations or mastering the latest pottery techniques, the CCSA is here to support your growth. Join the community of like-minded studio owners and take advantage of these incredible learning opportunities. Visit ccsaonline.com and become a member today.
Tell me where you're located. Tell us a little bit about American Bisque and about you guys.
So we're located in Plano, Illinois, which is about 60 miles west of Chicago. It's in a very rural community. It's, if you've ever heard of Plano tackle boxes, which are for anybody that fishes, or if you've ever had like a caboodles little kit, those are made in our town. Years ago, it was a very, very small manufacturing town here in Illinois. And my husband was born and raised here, and that's how I ended up here.
And has American Bisque always been there?
No. So going back to history, let's talk about history with American Bisque. So, well, actually, history with me, I'll start with that first because that kind of leads into the Midwest and then the American Bisque. So I've been doing ceramics my husband and I have been doing ceramics for about 15, 16 years now. I started because my mom did ceramics when I was growing up, more like just doing Christmas ornaments and painting them and taking them to local craft shows and selling them and everything like that. So that's actually how I got started in ceramics. And then from there, I was selling on Etsy, sold lots of those lighted Christmas trees on Etsy, but I always knew I wanted my own store. I just didn't know what kind of store it was going to be at that point in time with my retail history that I had. And then I came across how the PYOP industry, and I kind of fell in love with that aspect. But originally I wanted more of a traditional ceramic shop where people would come and get all of their stuff, and that we would just be, selling the stuff, kind of what Midwest Ceramics was before we kind of have converted it to be what it is today. So I started my first studio 10 years ago. And then back when I did start that, I said, oh, it would be cool to have 2 locations. Oh, it would be cool to sell all this stuff wholesale. Well, those things kind of happened throughout the years. In 2019, we were asked to open another location in a mall that's about 45 minutes away from us. And it kind of brought my whole thing full circle because it was one of the malls that my mom sold her Christmas ornaments in. So it's like, I got to do this. There's a lot of full circle moments in our whole journey that we have been on. And when I find something that comes full circle, I always feel like it was meant to be. So then shortly after we opened up that studio is when the previous owners of Midwest Ceramics wanted to retire. And that's where we were going and getting all of our supplies at the time, because I've always been a studio that has casted their own pieces. I mean, even going back before I started a studio, I was doing my own stuff. So anyways, when they approached us about that they wanted to sell, I was like, well, I really want to do this. And I looked at my husband. I'm like, are you coming on this journey with me? And he's like, yes. So we just kind of worked to figure it out. And then for the last 5 years, we've been running as Midwest Ceramics, which is actually wasn't even their original name, because they were actually Joliet Ceramics to begin with too, because that's what their mother had started it with when she started out of just her garage like 60 years ago. And then it evolved into Midwest Ceramics. However, I felt I wanted to rebrand, because when we did purchase them, as being that they were more of a traditional ceramic shop and everything, our goal when I took it over is I wanted to truly make it a made in the USA Bisque supplier to supply artists and studios throughout the country. And so that has been my primary focus with it, because I have my retail portion with my studios. So I don't mix the two, where I felt they were very mixed before. So that's why I've separated them out. And our focus with American Bisque is being a wholesale manufacturer of ceramic bisque for everybody.
That is quite the story. I love the part where this has come full circle for you. Like, started, we hear that story a lot. Like, it starts generationally and then it grows from there. And so here we are now. So that's just amazing. Also, I very much support the American supplying side of it. So that's really cool that we can look to someone to be, USA-based manufacturer. So kudos to you on that. I want to say thank you there.
Thank you. I'm excited to see where this part of the journey goes, because I know we're not done.
Did it take you a while to land on the name American Bisque? Were there other contenders? I'm just curious.
Yeah, we had a few of them, but then I'm always one that kind of goes with feeling. And when we said it out loud, that it made sense.
Vibes rule my life too, so I get it.
Yeah, it was me and my staff were all talking about it, and we had a few others. And to be honest, I don't even remember those. And then that one just rolled off the tongue.
Nice.
So it stuck.
And it's already been 5 years since you purchased Midwest Ceramics?
Yeah, a little over 5 years. It was end of February, beginning of March of 2020.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we all know what happened
It's
after
a fun
that.
boat to be in.
So I don't even feel like at that point in time we got into a really good groove with it, because it was so different.
Yeah. And how do you think you found your footing on that then? Because I know it was really hard for me becoming a business owner right at the beginning of the pandemic, and everything I thought I knew didn't matter anymore.
As my tattoos say, which I have to get my 3rd tattoo, my first one says inspire. No, I'm sorry, imagine. And because when I started this whole journey, I was like, imagine what you can do, imagine what's out there, just, keep going with that. And then after having just the studios for a while, then I put inspire on my other arm. And because I started inspiring other people to do things, and I love that. Then when everything happened in 2020 and we actually did pivot very quickly, especially we still had the Midwest, we still had orders throughout the country that we were having to fill, but then I pivoted very quickly with the retail part of it. And so my next tattoo is going to be innovate, because we had to innovate to get through all of that. And we did, and it worked, and we're all here now.
What is something that has surprised you being in this like supplier space, or like what's been different? What have you learned? I think that's so interesting because you're on
So
the other side of it, right?
yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the biggest thing I've learned with it, and I think it's taken these 5 years to learn this, is the ebbs and flows of it, because it does not ebb and flow the same way our studios do. And after 5 years, I'm finally seeing the patterns that develop of, when things happen. And we always have to be 2 to 3 seasons ahead of everything for it. So that was the most, probably a big surprise. But I think we've learned how to maneuver around that and how to ride that wave when it happens.
How big is your team?
Between both my studios and the wholesale, I have 10 employees.
It's like that's smaller than I expected, but very still like, yeah, I mean, more than me, obviously, but that you guys do a lot of work in a pretty small team.
And there's been times I've had 16 people, but sometimes having more hands in the cookie jar is not always a good thing. But having the right people to make the flow happen really helps.
What would you say are the most like popular pieces at the moment? I know, so we're in the middle of summer and I know that might change seasonally, but what are you finding that people are really loving?
In our spring, summer, the fairy houses are our biggest items.
Mm-hmm.
We have probably 10 or 12 different styles, and they're a piece that is very detailed, and we do a lot of them for spring and summer. And there's something too that they can be painted to look for any season too. So
Mm-hmm.
they do stay pretty solid throughout the whole year.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that. Like, not because it's, I don't like fairies. I love fairies, but a more intricate piece, I would be surprised that people are really flowing towards. But maybe that's a testament to what customers are looking for these days is,
Yeah. Well, and I would say that's one of the things that we offer that's different from a lot of places, because we do get those more detailed molds that we get from mostly Clay Magic is where we get those from. And so those are different, unique pieces that you don't find at all of our every other day suppliers.
and you guys are
Mhm.
doing custom lanterns and stuff still, right?
Oh, yes. Right now is actually our kickoff of our pumpkin season, which
Wow.
it's
Ooh.
pumpkins and snowmen kind of all at this, and Christmas trees all at the same time. So yes,
Tell us about that. Like, what is that? How long is that process? I mean, I'm so impressed with the whole thing.
So our custom pumpkins. Well, where do you want me to start? Like what studios do or what we do?
I want to know what you
Oh,
do. I mean, I guess
Well,
you can
yeah.
explain it to people who are not aware of what they are, and a little plug for when
Yeah.
you need
Some
to.
people might not know at all what we're talking about.
so I actually doing the custom pumpkins was one of the reasons why I wanted to take over Midwest, because I had actually already been offering custom pumpkins in my studio, just not, of course, not to the level that Midwest did or what American Bisque is going to do. Along with selling the trees on Etsy, I sold the pumpkins on Etsy. So I had already had my skills down for carving pumpkins, and I had already figured out all the quirks and stuff like that, because anytime you cast something, every piece is always it's going to come out of the mold different. It's going to do different things when you get to manipulating and cutting it. Since I had already been doing that, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to buy Midwest Ceramics back when we did. The process happens is we get everybody's order in, and then we have one person that pretty much solely just pours our molds. With this pumpkin, in this style pumpkin, we have about 20 molds of this one. So we'll make about 20 of them at a time. And then we generally leave our castings sit overnight in our molds, because some people will take molds out the same day, and some of our molds do have to come out the same day, but anything that can stay an extra day, we leave it an extra day, because it kind of is our process and our flow. Then after they sit for a day, they come out and they're a little firm, but they're not quite they're still pretty liquid, not liquidy clay, really wet clay. So generally we let them sit for another day underneath bags so that they start to firm up. Because of course, once the clay, if you've ever worked with clay, like in a hand building class too, you know that if you're using fresh clay out of a bag and you're trying to do stuff and manipulate with it, sometimes it doesn't want to do what you want to do because it's a little bit more wet. So when it gets closer to the leather hard stage, not quite leather hard, but just before, that's when we do the cutting in there. I use some non-traditional tools because I use a scalpel on an X-Acto blade. So I'm not even, I feel like
A
any
Frankenstein
place,
tool.
oh yeah, it is. It is totally a Frankenstein
I got
tool.
like lots of those.
But if I get the scalpels, they're on like a flat blade, but then you can't roll your hand. And to do some of the cutting, it's easier to get those curves and everything when you can roll your hand, because it does come to memory muscle when you're doing it. And so that's why I've always loved that tool. And then from there, they dry for a couple days, and then we clean them up, get them in the kiln and fire them and ship them out all over the country. In 2020, we did probably about 1,500 of them,
Wow.
which of course, being our first year, I was kind of like, I had no idea that this was what's going to happen. So, and then
it's turkeys and Santas and
bunnies.
Everything. Yeah. We've got hearts for Valentine's Day, a bear with a heart. We've got a clover shamrock. We have peeps. We have bunnies. We have some stuff that are summery, like we have a mermaid, which is always good for little girls' rooms. I have lots of those in my studio that get them. We have a flower. We have a frog. We have a butterfly. We have pumpkins. There's like 5 different styles of pumpkins. We also have a ghost that we can personalize. And then the snowmen are probably the next biggest thing after pumpkins. And we have 5 different snowmen that can be personalized. And we have a Santa, we have turkey. And I think that brings us back to the beginning of the year. And then we have all the sports balls too, and the footballs are most popular. And then we have basketballs, baseballs, soccer balls, and a hockey puck.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's so much stuff to manage on top of everything else, but it's such a good opportunity for studios to make really good money offering these year round. I mean, you could be set up 4 or 5 times a year offering pre-orders to bring these into your studio. So that's really cool. What is the lead time if I was a studio that wanted to do that?
So currently we have, because our way our website is set up, it shows that they are pre-order, and it does show 3 to 4 weeks. And it will probably always stay at that, because I always want to make sure that we have a little bit of cushion. And right now, though, at the beginning of the year, we are running about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm hoping and planning to stay at 2 to 3 weeks this year. But of course, I don't want to guarantee it, because if a kiln goes down or something happens with, one of the many kilns we have doing this, I want to have that cushion built in there. So we will keep it at 3 to 4 weeks, but we're going to try to get them all out in 2 to 3 weeks. And that's what my team is committed to also, because this year I have a way different team than I've ever had too. I have people that are very fully vested and committed in doing this.
That's amazing. Congratulations. I have to ask, what's your favorite one of the customization options?
Actually, my favorite is my leaf luminaries. It was a design. Okay, I'll tell a little funny story about it. Back when I was selling on Etsy, I had a customer reach out to me and he goes, "Can you make a Pottery Barn pumpkin?" And I'm like, "What's a Pottery Barn pumpkin?" And so he sends me a link, and it's this pumpkin that pretty much has like this snowflake. Like if you cut out snowflakes out of paper and you get that pattern, that's all that was around this pumpkin. And so I started doing that design back when I was on Etsy. Not the same design that we have now. This is a different design. But this is also when I found out how Etsy doesn't like when you have a copyright thing, because I put it on as a listing that said Pottery Barn inspired pumpkin. Well, my listing got taken down. That's where then years later, I came up with the pattern for the leaf luminary, where it's kind of got some carved into it for a little bit of relief, so that if you do glazes that catch on texture, it looks really cool. And then with the leaves cut out around it. And I think when you light it up and it lights up on all 3 sides, it's just beautiful. And they're very relaxing to sit and cut. So I like doing those.
That's amazing. I'm so impressed with y'all. I mean, I don't know that I could do it. How do you take care of yourself? How are you making sure that your body can handle all this?
That's a good question. I do like to work a lot. So if I have things to do, I'm doing them. However, me and my husband, when we do know we need our downtime, so we do have groups of friends here that are local in town that we go hang out with, or we will take vacations with. We'll just hang out in the pools or the hot tubs and stuff like that and just relax. So we get away.
Good. You have to. It's important.
Hey, podcast pros, give yourself a high five for tuning in and leveling up your business game. Seriously, we see you. Here at Bisque Imports, we're all about helping studios like yours thrive. From our ever-growing lineup of awesome bisque shapes to a huge library of resources, videos, and tools, we're here to make your job easier and keep those customers coming back for more. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned studio superstar, we've got your back. Let's keep the creativity flowing, the kilns burning, and the good vibes rolling. Check us out anytime at bisqueimports.com. We're here to help you grow, shine, and succeed.
Are you spending hours managing studio bookings and class registrations? Occasion helps ceramic studios save an average of 3 days a week in admin time. With clever workflows, instant confirmations, and seamless class management, you can focus on what matters, creating amazing experiences for your customers. Join successful studios like Clay Cafe Avalon, who've trusted Occasion since 2016. Visit occasion.app and schedule a demo today. Mention Glazed Over Podcast for personalized setup support.
So Kelly, what makes, American Bisque now? What makes it different from Midwest? What have you changed over the last 5 years? What are your hopes for the next?
So the things that are yeah, thanks, husband. He just brought in my next thing. So the one thing that we wanted to do, because even when we started our ceramic journey years ago in our basement, we also come from a computer background. Like, that's actually the first store we worked at. He was a computer technician and I was the tech admin that ran it. So we also have a lot of tech behind us too. I have my own built-in tech support, basically. So with the technologies, though, that have been added, my husband does a lot of designing of molds and printing them with the 3D printer. So we've taken, in the years past, we've taken on projects. This is actually a 3D printed ornament mold. This was done for Big Cedar, which is a resort in Missouri. He takes this and then he makes the plaster mold. Well, he makes a mother mold of it out of rubber and then makes the plaster molds so that we can make how many ever we need for production. So like this one, we had to do there was 4 different designs, and we did 800 of one, 500 of another of the other 3 designs. So we would make 20 molds so that we could produce that. But having the mother mold, which when we did purchase Midwest Ceramics, we did get a line of molds that we have the rubber masters for, so that when you talk about those detailed pieces, we can replace those molds as we need to when they get worn out. But then when we're designing our own too, of course, we can replace them as needed. But one of the big projects that we just got done working on, and I haven't added these on the website yet, but of course, because of my passion of loving to carve, is we actually are making these luminary boxes.
Ooh,
and this is a mold. Awesome. Thank you. This is a mold that he made, just a square box, because we actually needed it for another project. But it's very versatile, because I can, of course, like this one, we did the moon, the bat, and the stars for Halloween. But I know in my shop, both of them, moons and stars, sell. So I just did moons and stars. And then a couple other versions I have that will be on the website probably tomorrow. There's a sunflower one. And then my leaf pattern that I cut in my pumpkin, I also did half of it on the sides of these. And since 420 is pretty big, I did a leaf in one of them too, for those that host those type of events. It's nice because it's something that's going to illuminate. It's something different than you didn't get anywhere else. And it was made here.
That's amazing.
And from start to finish.
Yeah, I love the 3D printer, seeing more happening in the paint your own pottery space. It's just, the possibilities are truly endless.
And then with AI too, adding in there, it can do a lot to help you design the pieces.
And how long does something like that take to print?
The molds, depending on the size, small ones, 6 hours.
Oh.
And then larger ones, we've had some things take up to 20 hours to print. But we're also not using, for printing the molds, we're not using a filament printer. There's different types of 3D printers out there. And if you use the filament one, you have lines. We started out making some pieces with that, but then there's a lot of labor in cleaning up the pieces before you make the molds to make them nice and smooth. So that's when we invested in the resin printer, which when it comes out of the resin, it's already nice and smooth.
Are they pretty sturdy? Will they last through the mother mold making
yeah. Yeah. If the sun hits them, don't they deteriorate? What made that one deteriorate? We had one that deteriorated, but otherwise
I have no idea. The sun will cure them.
Yeah, but otherwise, they've been holding up. We haven't, even if you wanted to take those and make another master mold, we could.
And that's on innovation, inspiration,
right?
And I forget, what was the other one? What's your other tattoo?
It's Imagine, Inspire, Innovate.
My question is, how do you store and organize all of these things? Because that has got to be a ton.
So our molds in the back in our processing room, which we still have a little bit more work to do with that, but we did come up with a system. And I think this came from some of my back retail history, but we came up with a system of marking our places. And the molds that we have, we don't have like onesie twosies of anything. Granted, no, let me restate that. We do have onesie twosies, but we keep them in a separate location because those you have to go through more. But when you look at our shelves of molds organized, looking straight on at a shelf, just like if you were shopping at a store, you're going to see all of the same molds of one design. So like we organize and we have all of our banks together and they're marked on a certain letter shelf. And then we have boxes in one place, seasonal stuff in another place. Some stuff we do have on the floor right now, but that's just because it's going through a transition and finishing getting all of that set up in the back room. So, and once I do, then I'll get video tours and stuff of what it all looks like.
Ooh.
But I'm not quite ready to do that yet.
I want to come see it in person when it's all ready. But I love organization. That's my favorite part. But I always feel like when we were in BI in the warehouse, I always think it must be so tough bringing in new things and adding them into the overall system because you can't get too attached to like alphabetical order without having to reorganize everything.
Right. Well, that's where, so part of it too is they are my website, our website. I use the website to put the location of where the items are. So the one thing with us too is we have to store the molds. We're not storing a lot of product. I've been to Bisque Imports warehouse, so I completely understand that system you were seeing. But that's one thing that I think helps us keep our prices where they're at is we're not having to pay to store a whole warehouse of stuff. And we can do it on demand a little bit more so that we don't have to have that storage. Now, do we have some stuff? Yes. And that inventory has grown over the last 5 years because we didn't have any inventory when we took over Midwest Ceramics.
Right.
So we had to make everything. And now we're getting down where we have probably when we get orders, if they're not custom orders, we have about half of the stuff already in stock. And then we just have to make the other half of the orders so that we can get it shipped out. But I think that helps us too.
Can customers come and shop at American Bisque in person?
Absolutely. We have lots of local studios throughout Wisconsin, all of Northern Illinois, and Indiana that come over and shop. Because then, of course, when they're shopping, when you're on the website, you're buying a case quantity. When you come in and shop, you don't have to. Kind of have two areas to our studio that we have in Plano because my paint your own pottery studio is in there too. But it kind of has two rooms. So one room is all the stuff that I have been ordering over the years from all the other suppliers. And then we have a whole front room that is just all of our American Bisque stuff that we make in-house. We try to keep a lot of the samples of all of the different cutouts that we have available so they can be grab and go. And then, of course, we make all the made to order stuff too.
Are you finding that the vintage molds are coming back into fashion?
Yes, but for me and doing this production style, I have to be able to get multiple vintage molds if I'm going to put something into our collection. I can't just do a one because you can only get, especially if it's an item that has detail, you're only going to get, I'd say 15 to 20 good pours out of that. As you know, if we're selling to everybody throughout the country, we're going to probably cast more than that. Consider I just, 1,500 pumpkins in a season. If I'm trying to do 1,500 of any other item, I need a lot of molds to be able to do that. So it's nice to have the vintage stuff. However, I have to limit what we have online of it because I don't want to wear down our molds for that. We do keep them for all of our every other day customers or anybody that comes in and shops local. And if somebody reaches out to me and says, do you have this mold? Then yes, I would, take care of them because it's only a one or a two, but they're not going to be things that I'm going to put on the website to sell everyday wholesale.
That's such a good nugget of information to know. Despite being in the industry for a while, there's just holes in knowledge that I have. Are there other things that maybe people that work in paint your own pottery don't exactly understand about mold pouring or any other aspect of your business?
Probably because I was always told that I was a hybrid when I started this because we casted our stuff from the beginning. And I know there's lots of studios out there that are hybrid. However, then I know there's lots of studios that are just a paint your own pottery studio and they have a different focus. And I think that's the one thing that's great about the industry is everybody can hone in on their niche. Not everybody has to do the same thing. And even I know that from having two different studios in two different locations. Like in my Plano shop, because we're, out in a more rural area, we do sell the bigger pieces. At my studio that's in a mall, we don't sell bigger pieces there. I have bigger pieces on the shelves and they've been sitting there for a long time, but I keep them there just to fill a void and also show that they're available, but they're not something that turns really quickly. So when you get to the aspect of pouring, I will say probably one of the biggest things that I've talked to some studio owners about this that started casting themselves, but the PYOP market too, with all the resources that we've had, which has always been helpful for me ever since I started, and like hearing information from Donna, the accountant, on what your payroll percent should be and everything like that. However, when you take a step back and you start casting your own stuff, it's not the same payroll percentage as just working in a PYOP studio, because it's more of a manufacturing part of it. So there's different labor costs to that. So, even anybody that casts, they need to take that into consideration, that what are you spending on that too? Not just what you would be spending, because you're going to spend to create the piece, but then you're going to spend to sell the piece in your studio too. And I could see that as something that maybe some people don't take into consideration.
Yeah, very true. Well, what do you have? You've talked about the new pieces that you're making and the 3D printing. Is there anything else that you're kind of bringing into American Bisque that you're excited about that you can maybe let us in on?
Not yet.
I tried to get.
You did try, yeah.
That's
a solid effort.
Good question, but no, there's some stuff I'm not ready to release yet.
Do you want to talk about, price increasing and anything like how American Bisque is handling maybe this new era? It's the last thing it has on here.
Yeah.
Things coming in the
No one wants to say the T word, but
I know it's tariffs. How are you guys handling?
So sure, I understand that that's a concern with everybody. I think all of our vendors have done what they had to do. For us, when I look at the pieces, and this goes back to having detailed and non-detailed pieces, one of our biggest expenses is our labor. Well, our labor is not tariff, just to say it like that. So I only have to, not that I only have to, my biggest thing is I have to be able to pay my people. So when I am doing my calculations based on how much they can produce in a certain time frame, that's how I'm coming up with the pricing of the pieces. Because of course, if I have a more detailed piece, it's going to take them a little bit more longer to clean. If I have a square box like this, it's not going to take as long to clean. So this is something that I will be able to keep our costs down on. As far as our materials, all of our materials are sourced from within the United States too, with the exception of one that comes from Canada. They're not, and I know and when you look at the ceramic industry, there are other shops throughout the country that are actually sourcing in a different talc that's coming from overseas, which that to me is going to drive the price of their slip up. Even actually when I did go and look into it, because that's the one thing with our bisque that is, when people put it on the shelf, and I heard this feedback from people, our bisque is actually like an off-white. And that is because of the talc that we had to change to about 3 years ago that was coming out of one of the mines. One mine shut down in Texas. And so everybody had to find a different resource for it. And the one that we partnered with another ceramic shop in Kansas where we get our materials from. And he has assured me that he's got a supply and the supply chain is not going to go anywhere with that. But the one exception is our bisque is going to be yellow. However, the one feedback I got at convention last year is everybody's like, yeah, that's how I tell people that it's made in the US, is because it's an off-white. It's not a bright white like anybody else. So the big T word doesn't really affect us. My pricing, I just have to keep it so that I can take care of my employees, and then they make the world go round.
Yeah, you're a business just like we all are. And it's tough. It's tough out here, but we appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us? You've got your secrets that you won't tell. Yes, I'll get over that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would love to hear, what you're bringing to convention. You talk about all these new pieces, coming by your booth. What can we expect?
Oh my goodness. Well, so the last 2 years at convention, I have done just a single booth. However, after last year, I immediately went over to Dina and I said, I need a bigger booth next year. So I actually have a double booth this year, because I'm going to bring more of the product that we sell. Because in the past 2 years, I've only brought the custom stuff. So I'm really excited to bring other products that we offer, especially when they're things that we have designed the molds for. Even before we bought Midwest Ceramics, those guys had proprietary molds too, that unless they sold that mold to somebody, there's very few of those items out there. And we're bringing some of those pieces too, because we have those are ones we have the rubber masters for. And of course, some of those are bigger and more detailed pieces too. So they're the unique find, but you make a lot of dollars on that one. That's what I like. And then a lot of interaction, because I'm going to probably bring some small molds that we started casting with to be able to demonstrate to people how the casting world works right there at our booth.
That's so cool. I'm so excited to see that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm excited to go.
Yeah.
And my sister's coming because my sister lives in Texas and she only lives about an hour away. So she's going to come over and help me. So I'm pretty excited.
Oh, that's amazing. And you said you're driving. Tell me again how long that drive is.
15 hours for us.
Ooh.
Are you doing that in one day, or is it going to be like a road trip? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You're stronger than
That's
me.
Midwesterners for you.
Oh, yeah. And I'll be barefoot doing it too. Yeah, no, we're going to pack up our Jeep, and I think we've planned it out where everything is going to fit in there. I will also be bringing 30 snowmen because I am teaching a carving class in snowmen. So if you're interested in learning how I do all of this, join me in that class. So yeah, between the 30 snowmen and all of the other painted stuff and our shelves, I may have to ship a little bit to my sister, but then it'll get there quickly.
Thanks for listening. Des Toll here from Bisque Imports. We're proud to support the CCSA podcast and even prouder to support the amazing folks like you. Keep creating, keep growing, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
As a small business owner, saving money is key to running a successful studio. When you join the Contemporary Ceramic Studio Association, you unlock exclusive discounts with industry suppliers, saving you on everything from bisque to glazes and clay tools. These discounts could easily cover the cost of your membership, and then some. Don't miss out on the savings that can help boost your bottom line and keep your shelves stocked with high-quality supplies. Learn more about our membership discounts at www.ccsaonline.com.
Well, goodness. Thank you so much, Kelly. This has been such a delight to get to know you a little bit better and to be reintroduced to American Bisque. And I look forward to seeing, everything that you're doing. And I look forward to ordering a custom, honestly, snowman. I love the snowman.
I don't know. I kind of want a
And
pumpkin,
you're ready?
but Easter is my favorite holiday.
Yeah, the flowers are so cute. So honestly, a flower maybe the snowman. So good.
We'll go on there. There's
Right.
lots of things, lots of samples.
Can you tell us the website and where to find you?
It is www.americanbisque.com.
Beautiful. Facebook and Instagram the same?
Not yet.
Oh,
I'm having trouble getting the Midwest one changed over.
Sure.
Instagram's there, but no, I'm having trouble with getting the Midwest one done over. So I actually think that was on my agenda for today. I may go just create a new one because the other one wasn't that old, and then just go invite everybody to the new one. So yeah, because Facebook is not liking me right now to change the name.
That's so frustrating. But well, good luck on that. And we'll see you at convention. Thank you again.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Glazed Over is brought to you by the CCSA, the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association. Thank you to our moderators, Amy Williams and Jessica Cowan. Editing by Scott Lester. Executive production by Vicki DeWord. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.